What's going on, my fellow A-plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider news and reviews right here over on our YouTube page, going live today along with our Facebook page as well, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much, guys, for definitely joining us. Sorry if I was a couple minutes late here today. Just trying to get my stuff together. The girlfriend's going out with her mom this afternoon, so she just stopped by. So, I had to go out and give my hugs, give some loving. She actually did stop by and give me a great chocolate milkshake, even though I do have my coffee with me. So if you see me double fisting milkshake in one hand, freaking coffee in the other, you guys know what's certainly going on here. Talk about giving me the energy that I need to get through this weekend. You know what I mean, guys? So thank you, each and every one of you guys, for certainly joining us here today. We got a stacked show for you guys today. A couple of topics we're going to be breaking down for you. Of course, we're going to be highlighting some Dino Fury news for you as the season has officially wrapped, guys. That's right. After 9 months, the filming has, in fact, concluded. I'm pretty sure there's probably maybe some post-production stuff that maybe still has to kind of go into the final season and things like that. But as far as filming and stuff, I'm pretty sure that's completed at this particular point in time. So we'll talk a little bit about that. The future of Power Rangers after Dino Fury. Simon Bennett came out and had some comments that we'll go ahead and focus on. And then from there, guys, we'll go ahead and transition into some comic book news along with some tokusatsu deep dive when it comes to some information for you guys this week. So thank you, everybody, for kicking your weekend off right and certainly joining us here each and every week. I love having you guys here to kick off our weekend right with some great Power Ranger discussion. So let's see who's actually in the live chat with us today. And if we have any stragglers that wind up joining us last minute, certainly make everybody feel welcome. And then, of course, we'll get to your guys' live viewer questions at the end of the show. So let's see who's in here with us today. Some shout outs this morning. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? Another brother from another mother, if you will. We got Power Rangers Legacy in here. It's morphin' time, as always. Power Rangers Legacy, thank you very much for coming through. Adam Perea in the house, thank you very much. Dino AJ gracing us with his presence. JB says, what is in here today as well. I'm assuming who else we got? We got Blossom in the house. What's up, L'Oreal? Thank you very much for coming through today. Good to see you in here. We got Shadow Nova Productions in the house. Jinsaku, what's up, buddy? Thank you very much for stopping by. Letting everybody know you're in the house today. We got Isaiah in here. What's up, Isaiah? Sarav is joining us today. Jaden. We'll talk a little bit about that later on today as well. Jaden says, did you find out about the rights? Because he did send me something over on Twitter that I might actually highlight today, and we'll talk a little bit about. Frankie in the house. Thank you very much, Frankie. Appreciate you. Jinsaku says, haven't caught you live in a minute. Yeah, I know. Every once in a while you do peep in, though. So I continue to appreciate whenever you do find time to stop on by. So thank you very much for that, Jinsaku. And Kiva in the house also. Sounds like a new name around here, honestly. So thank you very much. Always good to see some brand new faces. And Lloyd's up in here also. I don't really see Lloyd when it comes to Power Ranger talk. So it's always great to have somebody else new on board, guys. And of course, remember, always certainly make everybody else feel welcome as they certainly join us here today, guys. So thank you very much for all of that. Who else we got? Last minute straggler, Marcelino. What's up, Marcelino? Appreciate you coming through also. Let's see here. What else we got? All right. I think other than that, guys, real quick, if you do have any live viewer questions that you certainly want to go ahead and submit over, you can do so at any particular time that you'd like to. Anytime during the week, specifically today, you certainly can. aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. If you happen to watch an old episode, if you're on Twitter or you see something that fascinates you, whether it's an article or a piece of news that you want to go ahead and ask questions about, certainly go ahead and submit them over to aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. And then we'll go ahead and get to those towards the end of the show. And just to go ahead and continue with some business around here, because we do have to keep the lights on, guys. Listen, if you continue to love our channel and you want to see it continue to grow, any help certainly would definitely go a long way. We actually do have ourselves a Patreon account that you can certainly go ahead and check out if you want to. Patreon.com/aplusopinions for our channel supporters here. We've got exclusive content, early access content for you Power Ranger fans. And because of the fact that we actually have 2 YouTube channels. Not only will you get content from APlus Morphinominal Power Ranger side of things, but also APlus Hero Report, where we talk a ton of Marvel and DC for you guys out there as well. So definitely go ahead and check it out. Patreon.com/APlusOpinions. We got 3 different tier levels: $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever certainly works best for you. But if for some reason, if you guys can't help us out monetarily, that's certainly more than fine. The way that you can support the channel, leave comments for sure. Hit that like button. It definitely goes a long way. And definitely hit that subscribe button. So anytime we do drop a brand new video, guys, you guys will certainly be notified. But all right, guys, we have any other last minute people that wind up coming in? Not right now as of right now, but we'll definitely see. Kiva does ask, what's your favorite Power Ranger episode? While I won't answer what my favorite Power Ranger episode is, I will tell you what one of my favorite Power Ranger episodes have been so far when it comes to the Neo Saban era. And I've mentioned this before when we went to Beast Morphers. I love the musical episode of Beast Morphers. I truly do. Considering the fact that it's unlike anything that they've really truly done. I mean, I know we've had some pieces, I believe maybe from Time Force or something like that, but as far as like a grandiose musical sort of concept, I'd never seen Power Rangers pull it off before until Beast Morphers, and I absolutely love the message that I wind up delivering. So at least within the Neo Saban era, for me, when it comes to my favorite Power Ranger episode, it's still the musical episode, to certainly say the least. But it's got some stiff competition so far, especially when it comes to Dino Fury. They've been hitting us with some incredible episodes so far. Episode 4, New Recruits, is definitely quite a memorable one, to say the least. But yeah, plenty to certainly choose from. Datilla's in the house. What's up, Datilla? Good to certainly see you in here. I know you had your reviews up yesterday for SmackDown along with AEW, so keep up the great work over there. Rafael Navarro's in the house also, guys. Yeah, guys, if you are wrestling fans, go ahead and check out Datilla's YouTube page if you haven't had the opportunity to check those out. All right, guys. I think with that out of the way, let me sip on my cup. I don't have my Yoda cup today. Dang it. I didn't even think about putting the coffee in there. Ooh, it's hot. I got my glasses all foggy. I might want to hold off in a second on that coffee before I go scolding myself on live TV. So why not? I'm not going to do that. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get into this week's episode because there's a ton of news for us to go ahead and break down. And the first story, guys, the main story of the week is, in fact, that's a wrap. Dino Fury has officially completed its mission of filming all 2 seasons. You get to see a fantastic cast photo of just everybody that worked, not only on the cast, but the crew as well. So shout out to them for doing an amazing job so far this season. You know, it's pretty incredible, just the idea of the impact that the show has given us 8 episodes into the season, that the show is wrapped and we're like, yeah, this best season ever. I mean, listen, I'm not going to call Dino Fury best season ever as of right now, but I do love just the enthusiasm going into the remaining of this season. I mean, episodes 1 through 8, I think really floored us. And the fact that we're all seemingly waiting around for the next season and a half, I think certainly says something. So great work from the cast and crew for everything that they've wind up doing in here. I believe it was about maybe 9 months of production for them to go ahead and get these 2 seasons together. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be quite emotional for a ton of them, guys. This has been the week to check out everybody's Instagram page, Twitter account, to really see how everybody's handling the idea of them departing. Jordan Fight put up some hilarious TikToks. The PowerRanger.com website itself went ahead and actually, or not PowerRangers.com, but their Twitter handle actually went ahead and posted up some fantastic photos of the cast and crew as they are wrapping up, some final pictures with everybody together, if you will. So really great memories, I'm sure, that they went ahead and accomplished and put together this season. You can see, I believe there was even a wrap party that took place. Ollie's mom, I can't remember her real name, the actress that plays her, posted a ton of great quality photos on her Instagram account for you guys to certainly go ahead and check out. Everybody had a blast. I think we even, I think it was Power Rangers Ready over on Twitter. That might be AJ. I believe he put together maybe a little collage of like some of the wrap party photos and things like that. Incredible stuff, man. I would love to go to a wrap party one year. I always think, and I almost tweeted this out I know wrap parties are very inclusive for the cast and crew and maybe their family and maybe their friends and things like that. I always thought it would be a really cool idea for Power Rangers to maybe do like a raffle or something like that. You know, maybe if we weren't in pandemic times, you know, the idea of maybe having a raffle for some lucky 5 or 10 fans or whatever the case may be to be able to actually go to a Power Rangers wrap party, I think would be really awesome to kind of get some fans that truly appreciate the season, get to meet some of the cast and crew. You know, don't get out too many. Like I said, maybe 5 lucky winners or something like that to be flown out to a Power Ranger wrap party, or maybe you have to pay for your own airfare, but you're allowed to attend, whatever the case may be. I would be completely down for that. I think that would be really cool because they do look like they're certainly having a great time. One of the pictures that I did post over on Twitter had Kai. I think he had in one photo, he had 1 glass of wine. And then in the next set of photos, when he had with like a group of people, you could see both his hands were filled with alcohol. Like, homeboy's just double fisting it at this wrap party. That's what you got to do. You got to celebrate. You got to enjoy your accomplishments that you went ahead and put out. And for some of them, this being kind of their very first, you know, big step into acting, you got to celebrate your heart out. And they clean up nicely. They clean up nicely. I was really impressed with what we wind up seeing. So all the hard work has officially come to an end. I'm assuming maybe this week, if not already, maybe some of the cast and crew is probably going to be headed back home, if you will, out of New Zealand. So we'll see what happens, guys. But yep, that's a wrap. Dino Fury has in fact concluded. While we personally still have a season and a half to go, there will be no more filming at this particular point in time. So I don't know when we're gonna get our next announcement for an upcoming Power Rangers season, but I'm more than happy to certainly have this season around for another year and a half, to certainly say the least, guys. So yeah, I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts. You hear this, the idea that it is in fact a wrap. Let me go ahead and actually pull this up because this came to us from their Twitter account. This was from the Power Rangers over on Twitter. It says production might be over, but we're never going to say goodbye. And then they wind up announcing everybody: Russell, Hunter, Kai, Chance, Tessa, Jordan. That's a wrap for Power Rangers Dino Fury, but you'll be Rangers forever. And yeah, I mean, you know, once you complete a season of Power Rangers, you're a part of the family forever. You know, we'll probably see these guys out in conventions soon, probably next year's Power Morphicon also. They're probably going to be very involved, certainly going forward. Very similar to how we've seen with Beast Morphers. You know, even though Beast Morphers had to the cast really had to deal with the pandemic and not being able to be out in conventions or go out in public and things like that, you know, they really are making their presence felt as of right now. I feel like anytime I turn around and go to or look at an upcoming convention, there's some sort of Beast Morphers actor that's going to be there, whether that's Abraham or Rory or Jasmeet. They're definitely doing their rounds and getting out there to the fans. So I'm really eager to see the rest of this new cast and crew doing the same thing and continue to talk about their experiences as Power Rangers. Because yeah, once a Ranger, always a Ranger, to certainly say the least. So yeah, congratulations to everybody for doing a remarkable job. And again, I love the enthusiasm that everybody certainly has for this season. Only 8 episodes, but we're ready for the rest of this season to just be just as stellar, to certainly say the least. But yeah, that did come to us from the official Twitter page over on Twitter from Power Rangers. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. But yeah, I want to know your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about the new photos that wind up releasing? And are you excited for the remainder of Dino Fury? Remember, guys, June 15th. June 15th. That's 10 days away, a week and a half away. Can you believe it? That we're going to get ourselves brand new Dino Fury episodes. Not only are we getting episodes 1 through 8 on Netflix, but 9, 10, and 11 as well, to certainly look forward to. So it's a great time to be a Power Ranger fan, if you ask me, guys. But yeah, I definitely want to go ahead and know your guys' thoughts in regards to them wrapping up the season. It's no easy task, man. No easy task. You know, I am kind of curious as to how long it usually does take television series to kind of do an entire season. I want to say like maybe some of the CW shows. I wonder how long that they usually wrap for. And remember, those are only one season shows, but they are longer episodes, to say the least. So something tells me maybe like a 6-month period, but maybe I'm wrong in regards to that. But But the idea of 9 months, that's a long time to devote to, you know, your craft and things like that, to kind of be away from your friends, your family, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure if you have followed some of this cast and crew on, you know, just on IG, just some of the miss you memes and messages that they send out to their friends and their family throughout the years, to be able to be granted a great opportunity to be in another country, a beautiful country like New Zealand, to say the least. I'm sure they had a blast getting the opportunity to do it, but 9 months away from your friends and family certainly is a long time. But, you know, they certainly take that time to make new friends and family, if you will, right? I'm pretty sure everybody on that cast and crew certainly felt like it. Did we have any big speeches that were given? I felt like when it came to Beast Morphers, they actually had, I think Jacqueline might have given a speech to everybody. I can't quite remember if anybody for this season might have given any big speeches or anything like that, but we'll see what happens, guys. But continue to support the Dino Fury cast. I'll continue to follow them on Twitter, on IG, certainly continue to make them feel a part of the Power Ranger community even after their show has officially wrapped. And again, we'll be around with these characters and cast for another year and a half, honestly. So it should be great, to certainly say the least. Let me see what some of you guys are saying, though, in regards to this. Let me see what some of your comments are. Adrian says that's a huge room of people in the picture that we don't see in the actual show itself. Yeah, it's all the hardworking people that that put in that time to make Dino Fury look as good as it does, sound as good as it does, right? All the set pieces and all designs. It just goes to show you that while we do have a cast that we absolutely love and a showrunner that we certainly support, and clearly, you know, 2 great writers and action directors, there's plenty more people that wind up having to hold the lighting or work in the ADR section, right? Or, you know, got to keep keep continuity and you know, all your props together and things like that. There's a lot of people that certainly bust their ass to go ahead and put together a great production when it comes to Dino Fury. And honestly, when you look at the show, it looks like everybody put in their best effort. So you're absolutely right, Adrian. A huge crowd, but you can definitely see where all that hard work was putting in. Jinsaka says, hopefully Russell don't turn it from a rap party. Yeah, you know, who knows? Maybe he let go a couple bars himself when somebody put on maybe one of his favorite songs. You never know, man. You never know. Let's see here. Who else we got? AJ says, can't believe the cast are already flying back from New Zealand. Can't imagine how much they will miss the beautiful country of New Zealand. Yeah, me either. I mean, like I said, I'm sure the idea of departing your friends and family here in the States is difficult, but to be able to go to a beautiful place like New Zealand and experience all those great new things, being able to leave after 9 months would probably be pretty hard for me as well. You know, I moved to Florida for like 9 months. I had planned to move to Florida originally for, you know, to settle down and things like that. The move certainly didn't work for me back in the day. This was maybe when I was like 25 or so, maybe a little bit younger than that. But the idea of 9 months certainly is a long time to, you know, get used and get familiar to a place that you're living in. Let's see here. Who else we got? Isaiah does ask me what's my favorite moment in Power Rangers Dino Fury. Well, one of my best scenes that we did when we did our countdown, or our best of for the series, my best moment that I went ahead and put out there was the episode 8 scene with the Nexus Prism, when we have our entire cast approaching the Nexus Prism, and we see Zato, you know, touching it and communicating with it, learning more about the morphing masters, how the morphing masters have really affected the morphing grid, along with other iterations of Power Rangers in the past, getting some brief glimpses of Ninja Steel, Beast Morphers. I thought that particular scene did a ton for just the entire Power Ranger lore. There are a couple of favorite moments. The Zato and Izzy conversation when he's trying to interview her for the Buzz Blast report. I thought that was a great sequence. Also, the new recruits, where we get to see Izzy and Javi fighting with each other alongside each other for the very first time. The Amelia and Solon moments from Superstition Strikes, if you will, great sentimental moments. So a ton of great moments from Dino Fury, to certainly say the least, that I'll certainly always remember. Datilla says, I feel like if Power Morphicon 2020 had happened, the Beast Morphers cast would have gotten a whole panel and they would have been introducing the cast of Dino Fury. Oh, most definitely. That's exactly how Power Morphicon certainly would have done it. They definitely would have been up there, probably would have greeted them after everybody's announced and they come down to the stage and things like that in their costume, you know. Yeah, those were always great moments when it comes to Power Morphicon that I'm really excited to get back into when it comes to 2021. We'll see if things change for the convention as we get into 2021 going further. But I would assume, if anything, Beast Morphers will probably still have its own panel. Dino Fury cast will probably have its own panel as well. And we'll see if they continue along with that celebration of new Rangers when we get to the next year of Power Morphicon. So we'll definitely see. Edward Sanchez Productions, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming through. He says, did you see that video that Jordan post on his Instagram with the cast? I did very much. Let me see if I can find it again for you guys. I absolutely loved it. Oh, it was on his Instagram, right? I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I liked it over on Twitter as well. Let me see if I can locate this for you guys. For those of you who haven't seen, oh, here we go. This is Ranger Board posted this. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. I'm trying to navigate all this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, here we go. So this was a Ranger Boy says it's officially impossible to dislike the cast. 100% fact. And this is from Jordan Fight's Instagram. I will say this, man. You know, I will say this. I do love the fact that this cast just has rhythm, man. I love the fact that they just know how to have a really great time. When you got somebody like Jordan Fight, I mean, come on, guys. Look at the moves by I was about to say by Zato here, by Russell Curry, man, coming through. I mean, everybody got the moves, all on beat and everything. I see you over there, Russell. I can't lie. I probably would love to absolutely party with Russell Curry. That's another reason, again, why we need fans to be able to attend some of these rap parties. Can we get a little a raffle or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Of like five happy winners to go to a rap party. Just go ahead and dance with some of these Rangers. But yes, Edward, I definitely did get the opportunity to see the video. So definitely go ahead and thank you for bringing that up, to say the least. He also says this cast is coolio. Absolutely. Daniel's in the house. Thank you very much, Daniel, for certainly joining us. We'll definitely talk about that here in just a second. Let me see. JB says, what? He says, honestly, I'm mad about them rapping just because we still have this season and all of season 2 left. I mean, I definitely get that. I mean, it's not like we're having to say farewell to the cast officially as of yet. But it is a sense that it is a huge accomplishment that they wind up actually completing. You know what I mean? It's a part of their life that they're now certainly moving on from, even though I'm sure they're certainly going to be a part of the Ranger community. I'm sure that they're probably going to be looking out for other work and other opportunities and things like that. So as far as them being able to spend that time with themselves, with the cast and crew, I definitely felt that that certainly warranted a congratulations to the crew for accomplishing a massive feat like that. Anytime you get the opportunity to accomplish a season or a movie, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So yeah, most definitely. Adam says, wait, you're not 25? No, sadly. A lot of people think that I am, but no, I'm a lot older than I look. But thank you. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Enrique, what's up, Enrique? Thank you very much for being in here today. Is a Dino Fury Red Ranger? Will he have a new power up in season 2? He certainly will. Absolutely, yeah. There's or at least I'm hoping so. I haven't seen a set photo of it. It would be hard pressed for me to think that Simon Bennett and the crew wouldn't utilize the power up that Real Soul Red at least gets in the Super Sentai version of things, because Max Real Soul Red is probably one of my favorite designs for a Red Ranger that I've seen in a really long time, and I think it'll blow plenty of you guys away if you haven't had the opportunity to check it out as of yet. Blossom says, I bet Jordan will rock as the Gold Ranger. I certainly hope that he will. I'm kind of curious to see what type of impact he's going to make into the season, to say the least. Personally, he seems like he's a pretty funny guy. He's seemingly able to get along with a lot of people in the cast and crew. Every picture that you see him in, homeboy's smiling, or they seemingly are having a great time. So I'm hoping he brings that same type of energy over to the Gold Ranger. So I am kind of curious to see what type of personality we're going to get from him also. AJ says Dino Fury are the king and queens of Power Rangers TikTok. Yeah, they really are. I mean, Jordan Fight himself has a huge TikTok following, if not for other Power Rangers also. TikTok's like the one of the hottest social media apps out there right now. So it's like, if you're not young and a part of TikTok, then you're missing out on something. You know what I mean? That's probably why I'm not part of TikTok. Gabriel, he says, love that video of the Dino Fury cast getting down. Right? I love the fun that they seemingly have on set and just with each other. I absolutely love it. All right, guys. And shout out to Jared Hodge for being in here also. What's up, Jared? Thank you very much. He said, I think Max Real Soul will be an awesome battleizer. Absolutely. I'm right there with you, man. I've got the same mentality. I cannot wait for it to be introduced. I would assume, if anything, that's a season 2 introduction instead of a second half of season 1, but you never know. However they want to go ahead and certainly tell their story, guys. But we'll definitely go ahead and continue to jump into your guys' comments as we continue to go through here. But that's a wrap once again, guys, for Dino Fury. Again, here's the massive cast and crew that put all their hard work, blood, sweat, and tears into go ahead and making this incredible season so far. There's plenty of more to certainly go when it comes to Dino Fury, so we'll definitely see how this season concludes itself. But as far as the actors and the crew themselves, they are finished working on this project, and hopefully moving on to bigger and even better things for their career, to certainly say the least. But again, continue to show your support for the cast and crew as we continue to go through this remainder of the season, because I'm sure they'll continue to be just as active on social media as they were before they wind up wrapping production. So I think that's pretty awesome stuff, man. Ah, yes. The taste of that sweet, sweet, delicious coffee just right through the veins already. I just feel it. I feel it coming through me. All right, guys. With that story out of the way, we will go ahead and move on to our next topic, which we'll stick inside the Power Rangers, Simon Bennett, kind of Dino Fury-esque thing, because really the next big question is, even though, yes, we do have ourselves a year and a half of Power Rangers to certainly still enjoy for Dino Fury, the future very much still is up in the air, right? We still have not gotten any sort of confirmation as to what's coming after Dino Fury. Granted, there's a ton of speculation out there and rumors about the idea of Hasbro and Toei certainly splitting, maybe no more utilizing the idea of Super Sentai footage, but understand that's certainly speculation and rumor. Nobody has actually come out and confirmed that. While I personally am leaning in that direction of that possibly happening, there's always an opportunity that it certainly does not, right? People can change their minds. Things can certainly significantly change over time. So we'll definitely have to see. But the question continues to be, when it comes to Power Ranger fandom, what does the future hold? And because of that question, it's time to get into our segment, where Simon Bennett joins us. Well, not really, but it's pretty much the "what did Simon say" kind of segment of of the show that we like to get into. What's up, Simon? It's good to see you, man. High five, congratulations. No high five? Okay, that's cool. Maybe next time. Anyway, Simon Bennett is back over on Twitter, letting fans in on a couple things, or maybe causing more confusion out there when it comes to the fandom. But let's go ahead and just talk about what is happening here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up for you guys, because Simon Bennett let everybody know on May 30th that they have officially wrapped on Power Rangers. And once he wind up making that announcement that as of May 30th, Power Rangers Dino Fury has wrapped, of course, the bombardment of questions and the curiosity of what comes next has in fact crept back in, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. What did Simon say? He said, this comes from Simon Bennett says, wrapped Power Rangers Dino Fury. You've got a user here that says, can't wait for Power Rangers Super Zeo to finally give us an ending to Zeo. And then they went ahead and utilized Kiramager as the possible photo, or them hoping that that's exactly what's certainly coming next for Power Rangers. But then that gets a response from another Twitter user that says the 29th and final season of Power Rangers will be airing in 2022. After that, Hasbro's partnership with Toei is done. No Kiramager adaptation will be aired. Okay, J4 Lambert seems pretty confident. He's kind of spitting this as that's a fact. But what did Simon say? Simon said, and that is a completely unfounded assertion. And that is a completely unfounded assertion. So I see a lot of people, based off of what Simon said in here, maybe that's what we should change the segment to. Simon Says. I think that's the name of this new segment here. Simon Says. Simon says, and that is a completely unfounded assertion, which pretty much just means the idea that it's not a reality. It's not a pure fact as of right now. Unfounded, right? Let me see here. If you describe a rumor, belief, or feeling as unfounded, you mean that it is wrong or it's not based on facts or evidence, right? So he's making this assertion just simply based off of the fact of what he's heard, speculation. The way that J4 Lambert points this is that it's an actual fact. This is what's happening. Whereas Simon Bennett is simply coming out and saying, that's not necessarily correct, right? Now, this isn't to say, like, if you ask me, because I responded right underneath it, I said, I think this is the fact that the comment was made as a fact, and no one from Hasbro has come out and confirmed that to be the case. So right now, it truly is just an unfounded assertion, no matter what side of the debate that you certainly land on. Now, some people will look at this and say Simon Bennett is trying to tell us that, yes, Hasbro and Toei are certainly still together. We're going to get more Super Sentai adaptions. I don't necessarily know if that's what Simon means by that. And even if it was what Simon meant by that, he's not going to come out and certainly tell us that that's certainly a fact. I think Simon Bennett is just trying to do his part to correct what is truth and what is just simply speculation and rumor at this particular point in time. So I do think, again, I'm still very much leaning towards the idea that Hasbro and Toei are in fact going to be making this split. But again, that's just speculation and my own personal theory. Could that certainly change? Absolutely. But Simon Bennett is letting us know that Hasbro hasn't come out and confirmed that. Nobody of a big higher source has come out right and actually said that that's exactly what's happening. So I think he's trying to pump the brakes on some information from going out any further than it certainly needs to kind of let fans know that things are still very much up in the air. Who knows? Maybe Hasbro has made a decision and we haven't gotten an announcement. But the fact that somebody mentions that, it makes perfect sense for Simon Bennett to reply in that sense that it's a completely unfounded assertion, because that is in fact the case. It's based off of nothing factual, just speculation as of right now. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That still leads us to the idea of what happens with Power Rangers after Dino Fury. If Simon Bennett's not going to spill the tea and let us know that whether or not Power Rangers is going to continue along with Super Sentai footage, or if he's going to if they're going to do something completely original after Dino Fury. Who certainly knows? But I will say this, it does make me really eager for the future. Where did I put my phone at, man? Oh, hold on, because I had some notes on there. It does make me very curious as to what the future for Power Rangers does hold. Again, while I am leaning towards the idea and the concept of Hasbro and Toei certainly splitting, there is a part of me that certainly would still love to see the collaboration of Hasbro and Super Sentai. I've been very adamant about really wanting to see Kyuranger utilized as an additional season, as a celebratory season, if you will, for an anniversary for perhaps in space. Heck, I even love the concept that the gentleman or whoever the person was over on Twitter of suggesting, I don't want to call it Super Zeo, but the idea of Kiramager possibly even being utilized as a Zeo-esque season. I think that would be a really great opportunity for them to do that. I mean, great costume designs. I've always thought the mechas look incredible. Some awesome fight sequences, not only on the Zord side of things, but Ranger side of things. Great villain designs also. I honestly do think that Kiramager certainly would be a possibility. So I'm open to Kiramager, Kyuranger. Heck, I even have said this before in the past. Zoozer, I'll take Zoozer because I've always felt that would be a really great theme for like a video game and animals motif. Even though we just kind of did animals with Beast Morphers, I feel like those three are probably, for me at least, the seasons that if they were to continue to adapt Super Sentai, that I absolutely would love to see them maybe tackle one season. So we'll see what happens when it comes to the future. But again, I don't believe Simon Bennett's comments confirm or deny anything outside of the idea of like, let's just pump the brakes a little bit and not say things so factually when they are just speculation. And I think that's kind of what Simon Bennett was referring to. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has other things certainly in mind. But I will say this, when it comes to Simon Bennett, I really hope that he returns to Power Rangers at some particular point in time. I did go ahead and make a comment the other day in regards to him. I said, not sure the current plans for Power Rangers after Dino Fury completes airing, but I'm curious if Simon Bennett would want to return to the franchise. I personally would love to see Simon back for another season. If they were to do that, I definitely would love to see Simon Bennett return and continue to helm this show, honestly. Regardless if they're going to be working with Toei and utilizing Super Sentai footage, whether they're going to go the all original footage route, I feel that Simon Bennett certainly has proven himself worthy enough to continue on as the showrunner and take us into the next iteration of this. I mean, my question is, why not, right? Toei or no Toei, Simon Bennett is the man for the job so far. I have confidence that the rest of the seasons goes well, but it's still certainly early, right? I mean, we definitely don't want to jump too ahead of ourselves, but just based off of what he's been able to do direction-wise when it comes to Beast Morphers, transitioning from director to showrunner and taking on a whole nother job description and a ton more on your plate, and to be able to see that transition that he was able to make into becoming the showrunner and still giving us a pretty solid season of Power Rangers, 8 episodes in. Again, still very much early, but based off of what I've seen so far of him do, I feel like Simon Bennett is a great addition for Hasbro to certainly keep around, to certainly say the least. I also think that when it comes to Simon Bennett, that he does the little things that truly matters. Dropping photos on Instagram, sort of letting us as a fan base in on the process of making this show, right? Interacting on social media, teasing things, but never fully revealing things, right? Focusing very focused, if you will. I feel like when Simon Bennett is on social media, very focused, never saying too little or even saying too much, honestly. And I think that kind of stuff, his interactions alone, really kind of help build the fandom a little bit, really help continue that positive buzz around Power Rangers as a whole. And I think his interactions and the little things that he does really does go a long way of bringing some of that positivity back to Power Rangers. So I do think that Simon Bennett is doing all the little things right. Thirdly, he has the experience clearly, even before his time in Power Rangers. And if this is a success, he technically will have been a part of two sort of back-to-back successful series of Power Rangers, and that's hard to certainly say. Beast Morphers, he went out there and did a killer job. Taking on more responsibility, he's still doing a killer job here in Dino Fury. Even before he touched Power Rangers, just the groundwork that he laid for himself in New Zealand as one of the finest sort of directors out there. The guy has the experience. He knows what he's doing, and it actually shows on camera and on film when you actually watch it. And fourthly, I truly hope that they have him back part of just this big machine and whatever Hasbro is doing, because I honestly think he would be a good choice to help shape the TV side for the kids, if you will. It's interesting to me. When Dino Fury began, I want to say Simon Bennett had come out and mentioned that he had not spoken with Jonathan Entwistle when the series had begun, or when he was in the process of filming, or at least that's what Simon wind up mentioning. Hasbro's back there trying to shape this huge cinematic universe, if you will, for Power Rangers. We know Jonathan Entwistle is in fact connected to it, but we don't really know where Simon Bennett fits into things. And with Simon Bennett mentioning very early on in the season he hasn't spoken to Jonathan Entwistle, a part of me would like to see him kind of brought into the fold a little bit more if he certainly hasn't. I would love to see some of the ideas that Simon and Simon's writers and maybe what Jonathan Entwistle is putting together, what they can certainly collaborate and maybe put together, because I do think that Simon Bennett, if he's not part of the big machine for Hasbro, probably should be, or at least maybe let in on some of the things that are definitely happening. Who knows? Maybe he is. But I'm just saying, as a viewer, I definitely hope that he certainly is. And again, for the fifth reason, it's just I'm sure the transition from director to showrunner is a big adjustment for anyone. But I think the transition looked great, at least from an outsider's point of view. So if he can do that, I'm pretty sure that Simon Bennett will just continue to get better and better, especially when it comes to the formula that works for making Power Rangers. And I'm pretty sure just with his mind alone, I'm pretty sure not only did he put forth Dino Fury, but probably after watching Dino Fury himself, he's probably thinking, what changes can I make, right? Like, what adjustments can we make for a future series? How can we shoot certain things a different way, certainly going forward, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Simon Bennett maybe experiments with some stuff here in Dino Fury, right? We've already seen the idea of original Zord footage from, I think it was episode 8 of Dino Fury as well, right? So they are experimenting with things, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of other adjustments that Simon Bennett would love to add to Power Rangers certainly going forward. So I think this guy will just only get better from here, honestly. So I really do hope that Simon Bennett certainly returns. I think he certainly has earned his right. Again, it's still very early on when it comes to Dino Fury, but just based off of what I've seen him do when it comes to Beast Morphers. Now, granted, a lot of that storyline certainly was based off of Chip Lynn's writing, but the idea of Simon Bennett coming in and impressing as a director, maybe having some hands-on in regards to developing Beast Morphers, I'm not quite sure, but to go from that to a showrunner in Dino Fury and have 8 stellar episodes so far that I think people are really pleased with, I have big hopes for the remainder of Dino Fury. And if they can keep that momentum, keep that positive buzz, I don't see why Hasbro certainly wouldn't continue to allow Simon Bennett to stay in the fold. And if they want to go ahead and continue to do kid content that's based out of this Jonathan Entwistle rebooted vision of Power Rangers, I think Simon Bennett could more than handle the kids side of things when it comes to this Power Rangers show, to certainly say the least. So again, whether that whether that be Toei or no Toei involvement, whether that be Kiramager, Q Ranger, or Zoologer being adapted or not. I do think Simon Bennett certainly is the man for the job, and would love to certainly have him back as a showrunner. And I feel like that's saying a lot, because I haven't had that feeling for any showrunner of Power Rangers in quite some time. I mean, don't get me wrong, Chip Lynn is a legendary master in his own right, right? He's put forth some amazing shows when it comes to Power Rangers. But since it is the turning of the tide and the changing of the guard around here, I definitely do think Simon Bennett has proven himself. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think in regards to some of the comments that Simon Bennett wind up making? Did he confuse you? Do you think this is him just pumping the brakes on the fandom and saying, hey, let's not spout stuff as fact. Let's talk about it as it is, just theoretical and as a speculation, until Hasbro actually comes out and verifies stuff? Or do you think that's him saying, nah, we're definitely getting Super Sentai footage and a future adaptation going forward? I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts at the end of the day in the comment section box below or the live chat, guys. But let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in here. Jared says, I would like Kiramager Power Rangers Crystal Raiders is what he would call them. Okay, Jared. Okay. JB says, what? Says Super Zeo. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the term Super Zeo. Like, let's get away from the supers, please. Right? Like, I think that's what they're probably trying to do. At least I'm hoping we don't get a Super Dino Fury. Please don't give us a Super Dino Fury. We didn't get Super Beast Morphers, right? I think it was just Beast Morphers. I think they axed that, didn't they? Let's see here. AJ does say, if we ever get another Power Ranger series, I would like it to all be original footage. I would really love it to be all original footage, honestly. There's another reason why I'm leaning in that direction. I just think creatively, it just allows you to just have more freedom to do what you're doing. You know, I feel like in some of the past interviews that I've read from Simon Bennett, you know, the idea of having to watch the Super Sentai version, pick apart the series itself, trying to adapt something creative enough to that flows seamlessly into the footage that somebody's kind of giving you. I do feel that kind of hinders you creatively from being able to do what you fully want to do. And the idea of having somebody like the mind of Simon Bennett to have sort of free reign, to be able to pick writers and come up with these creative ideas of creating something new, I think it really goes a long way. Again, as much as I love the idea of Super Sentai being or Power Rangers being adapted from Super Sentai, it's been that way for 28 years, right? It's part of the formula of what makes Power Rangers so enjoyable, to certainly say the least. I do think that it is time to maybe change the guard a little bit, change things up. Let's get some new, fresh, creative ideas in there. And I think the idea of an all original footage Power Ranger series would do just that. So we'll definitely have to see. Power Rangers Legacy says, I wish some fans would enjoy Dino Fury first before thinking of a new series. We're literally still in season 1 of 2. Absolutely, Power Ranger Legacy. I mean, I think for me, I'm pretty sure fans are enjoying Dino Fury, but there is something about the idea of what's next, what's to come, you know? And I feel like just because of the fact that we are in a transitional period right now from Saban to Hasbro, and now Hasbro moving on from Nickelodeon and things like that. Hasbro clearly coming out and saying there's big plans, but no major announcements have been released. I think the idea of the question of what the future holds, I think, is really appealing to some fans. Some fans are clearly worried, not sure what to certainly expect. So I definitely do think while they're enjoying Dino Fury, there is a curiosity of what the future holds. So I think now more than ever, fans are really pushing to kind of find out what's coming next so that they can kind of make up their mind as to, is this something I'm going to enjoy? Is this something I'm going to be open-minded enough to really want to tackle and see what they do? So I do think people certainly have a lot of questions. So that's probably why it's getting brought up a lot more, but I don't think it's taken away from Dino Fury. I feel like Dino Fury still certainly has a ton of buzz surrounding it, to say the least. Enrique says, after Kiramager's series has ended, is there going to be a spinoff? I don't necessarily know if it's a spinoff, but we're definitely going to be getting a special, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Tony Robinson's in the house. What's up, Tony? Thank you very much, man, for coming through today. Datilla says, Zeo is my favorite season. It's up there for me too. That and In Space is right up there for me. So while I personally would love an In Space Super Sentai adaptation as an anniversary, I'll take Zeo also. I'll take Zeo. Jared does say, in his opinion, I say Kyuranger, Zyuohger, and Kiramager are three best Sentais, especially their Sixth Rangers are amazing, in my opinion. Well, I'm glad that you certainly like them, Jared. I do think that they're great selections for being adapted if that's the route that Hasbro certainly wants to go. Adrian Perez says, do you think why people still believe Saban is still in charge of Power Rangers because his name is still attached in the executive producer listing? Disney era removed his name completely. That could probably be why. That's the only reason why I can think that. It doesn't feel anything like what Saban would have put forward to us. So I am kind of curious as to if he is an executive producer and in what capacity, right? How involved is he truly? If that is even still the case, is he just like a financial consultant, a creative consultant? I wouldn't even say, God, I hope he's not a creative consultant. But I have no idea what his attachment to Power Rangers is, if any. Who knows? Maybe they just haven't updated the Wikipedia or that information. AJ does say Simon Bennett is doing an incredible job with Dino Fury so far. Would absolutely love him to return for the 30th anniversary if there is one. I definitely would love to see that as well. I definitely do think he's doing an incredible job. Datilla says, I like that Power Rangers is experiencing a resurgence, just like wrestling. Crazy how they had a boom in the 90s. Both their popularity died down, and now they're both experiencing a resurgence. For those of you what Datilla is referring to, earlier this week, I believe on Monday Night Raw, we had the New Day. I think it was Kofi Kingston, I believe. Oh, that's right. I forgot. They did wind up actually having a photo that they wind up taking together. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. I want to share this. The reason why I bring this up, I'm glad you brought this up, Tatilla. Yeah, the New Day came out this past Monday, I believe, and they were rocking wrestling gear that was inspired by Power Rangers. And if you guys look really closely, the Green Ranger and the White Ranger, baby, Jason David Frank coming through represented on WWE Raw as best as he can with some of his iconic characters in here. I absolutely love the design and the ring gear that they wind up putting together for these guys. They look sharp as can be. I haven't watched Raw this week to kind of see what they look like live, but absolutely, Datilla, the idea that they're experiencing a resurgence is pretty crazy. And I think for me, at least, when I look at this photo, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit to the certain part of fandom that continues to have this mindset that people like JDF is overrated. or MMPR sort of being overrated. I mean, people certainly have the right to feel that way, but there are some people that just throw shade to the classic Power Rangers series, just throw shade to JDF, to say the least. But guys, look at the impact that JDF and Power Rangers has left behind for us. When you see these popular artists and actors and athletes rocking this Power Ranger gear, and all of it tends to be, majority of the time, from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, that should tell you something. And I think what it tells me is that not only has JDF done an amazing job to being an anchor for just the Power Ranger franchise over the years, but I think it also goes to show just the impact that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has had on pop culture. And while I know that there's a ton of people out there in this world that want to move past MMPR, that are maybe tired of MMPR, who's not tired of MMPR? Pop culture, the geek culture world, general public. This is what people remember when it comes to Power Rangers. 28 years later, MMPR has continued to be felt as a part of our culture each and every day, and has left a lasting impression on us, guys. So, while there are some people, again, like they may feel it's overrated, I don't know if you can call it overrated when it has that much of a stronghold in pop culture these days. So when you see Hasbro leaning towards that direction, why are we getting all these MMPR figures and toys and collectibles? Where's Mystic Force and Jungle Fury? The idea is the money is where MMPR is, unfortunately. And I know there's not going to be a lot of people that are happy with that realization, but that's Power Rangers to many of people in the world outside of our particular fandom. And so the fact that we've got a popular group like New Day that's repping JDF and MMPR, I think says a lot. And I think certainly does go a long way in regards to just showing the continued impact of what Power Rangers certainly has. So I'm never going to knock Power Rangers for wanting to highlight MMPR, because I get it. I absolutely get it. All right, guys, I think with that out of the way, we will go ahead and transition over to our next topic, which will in fact be Boom Studios, baby, as we get into some more upcoming comic books from them. I believe this issue is actually going to be dropping this week, if I'm not mistaken, guys. This is for Mighty Morphin issue number 8. They're doing a fantastic job over there. Ryan Parrott continues to pull the rug from under us when it comes to some of these storylines and concepts that he's coming up with. Seeing the idea of the Green Ranger teaming up with Lord Zed and his minions for the good of Angel Grove, having this animosity now continuing to grow between Grace Sterling along with our Power Rangers. I mean, goodness, we even had Kimberly sucker punching Matthew as the new Green Ranger for his actions in the previous issue. Ryan Parrott is doing some incredible work, guys. But we have a new issue that's coming up this week, issue number 8 of Mighty Morphin, and we have a preview for you guys as well. So here's some fantastic new shots, some new pages that were in fact revealed. And this comes to us from rangercommand.com. Says, past and present collide in your first look at Mighty Morphin issue number 8. Discover the life-threatening dangers faced by Tommy and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in June of 2021. Let's see here. The synopsis reads as, will the Power Rangers be able to save Angel Grove from Lord Zed and his putty primes? With Tommy's life on the line, the rest of the team will have to rely on new allies with their own agenda. Meanwhile, the past and present collide as the truth reveals itself and all the players make their moves. Oh man, guys, I feel like we're getting into the end game, if you will, of this massive story arc that Ryan Parrott is certainly putting together. You get the opportunity here on some of these pages to see the Zeo crystal itself here, the discovery of it by Zordon and the Eltarians. It looks like we're going to be having some flashback sequences also of the Zordon storyline, along with our Rangers certainly fighting for their lives. And we previewed, I believe, issue number 10 last week. And the fact that we issued episode number 10 or issue number 10 before we even got to issue number 8 just shows you just the massive buildup that Ryan Parrott and this creative team are building towards for their epic, I don't want to say conclusion to their storyline, but definitely to an epic buildup for Zordon and the rest of his team, to certainly say the least. So I love what Boom Studios is certainly putting together. We're starting to see Mighty Morphin and the Power Rangers series kind of coming together, linking up a little bit, right? I believe the Eltarians referenced the Imperials in the previous issue. We know that when it comes to the Power Rangers, a series itself, they're now hunting down the Imperials also. So it definitely seems as though Mighty Morphin and the Omegas will eventually be coming back once again to maybe form some sort of alliance or facing off against one another. Who certainly knows? But Mighty Morphin issue number 8 is certainly building up to be something special. And if you guys aren't reading these comics, please do yourselves a favor and certainly go ahead and track them down if you can and check them out, whether that be at your local comic book store or finding them digitally, if you will, on Comixology.com, guys. But yeah, I want to know your guys' thoughts in regards to Mighty Morphin issue number 8. Are you pumped for it? Certainly go ahead and let me know. And let me just see. I want to say, where was the release date? June 9th. June 9th, guys. So we've got June 9th, the release date, which is next Wednesday. And then the following Wednesday, on Tuesday, June 15th, we've got the return of Power Rangers Dino Fury. So it should be a fun couple of weeks if you're a Power Ranger fan, to certainly say the least, guys. But let me know how you guys are enjoying the Boom Studios comics, if you are checking them out. I don't know if you guys are or not, but I'm loving them each and every time I pick up an issue, honestly. Let's see here. All right, guys. Let me go ahead and transition over to some tokusatsu news for you guys now. One of the series that I think I'm really eager to go ahead and dive into, it'll be my first Ultraman series that I actually review for this page. It'll be Ultraman Trigger, guys. Ultraman Trigger is set to go ahead and debut in July. I can't remember exactly what date in July. I want to say it's closer towards the end of July, but I could be wrong. Let me see if I can I pull this up from see if the web page that I got this news from has an announcement date on when it drops. No, there's no date on there as of yet, but I'll keep you guys posted because we will be doing reviews for Ultraman Trigger. If you guys are fascinated in Ultraman, maybe you haven't dabbled in it whatsoever, maybe you can kind of certainly join us as we go ahead and tackle this new series. But we wind up getting some new scans, some magazine scans for Ultraman Trigger that dropped this week, and we wind up getting some further details revealed to us, guys. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Really cool poster. It looks like a big splash page in this magazine that they wind up having, showcasing, I'm assuming, maybe not only Ultraman Trigger himself, but also some other formidable foes that he's going to be facing against as well. So let's go into this as we wind up getting some brand new photos. But it says just a month left and the new Ultra Hero series premieres. And before that, let's get to know more about Ultraman Trigger's past. So it says 30 million years ago, the three giants of darkness, Hyudrin, Dargan, and Carmilla, who had a grudge against Trigger, fought on the planet Mars. I'm assuming that's exactly who these three are around Trigger. It also goes on to say, after Trigger defeated the trio, he went to sleep, later to be awoken by Guts Select member Kengo, who will absorb his light. And here's another photo that they have in regards to that one also. So that's Gut Select. That's in fact going to be the team that we have there as part of the show. It says Kengo will revive the sleeping giant when a kaiju named Golba, a fuse between Golza and Melba, attacks the Mars colony. I don't think this little kid's going to be in the show, guys. I think he's just showcasing the toys itself, the actual toy itself. But it does look as though he's certainly going to have his hands full when it comes to protecting this Mars colony. And I'm a sucker for anything outside of space, especially on a planet that has been unexplored or doesn't have any human life or not habitated yet. So the fact that we have ourselves a Mars colony, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I'm loving the scans that we're seeing so far. But yeah, I'm definitely eager to go ahead and dive into this series. But one of the things that we have been doing, I feel like over the past couple of weeks, we've been highlighting a lot of cast member guys. They've been doing a huge casting announcement over the past several weeks. It's like one at a time, revealing us who these Guts Select members are certainly going to be. And one of the other casting announcements that we just recently got, guys, was in fact for Shin Takuma, who has in fact been cast in the Ultraman Trigger series. Now, I'm not too familiar with Shin Takuma, but let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about him and see what role he's definitely going to be playing when it comes to Ultraman Trigger this season, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into this. This news article actually comes to us from Tokusatsu Network. The Tokusatsu Network, a great place for your Tokusatsu news. It says Subaraya has released the news that Shin Takuma will play Mitsukuni Shizuma, the president of the Saizuma Foundation and creator of Gut Select. Okay, so he's the president and the creator of Gut Select in the upcoming series Ultraman Trigger. Says new information has been provided about a live stream event on which all 8 main cast members will appear. The live event, which takes place next Thursday, June 10th, all 8 main cast members and the director will certainly be there to take part in the live stream event. It says set inside the Gut Select anti-monster battleship, the Nurse Desi. Ooh, okay, that's kind of cool. This event will only be streamed in Japan, but a report will be posted on the Subaraya website after it concludes. I feel like that live stream event is pretty much what they do with every Kamen Rider Super Sentai new season that's about to start. They usually have these big live presentations, if you will. So Mitsukuni Shizuma is in fact the character name here. It says he is the founder and president of the global mega conglomerate, the Saizuma Foundation. He is the leader behind the creation of the terrestrial Peace, Union, and Gut Select. He is also the father of Yuna Shizuma. Since his acting debut in 1978, Takuma has appeared in various films and TV series, including The Return of Godzilla, Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla. And then it says in recent years, he's highly acclaimed for his performance in the TV drama The Hero Yoshihiko. And this is what he says. He says, I remember 55 years ago as a 10-year-old boy watching Ultraman on TV for the first time and being so excited. And now 55 years later, here I am at the age of 65, thrilled beyond belief to take on a role in Ultraman. The nostalgia mixed in with the realization that I've reached this age combined to make this acting experience so much fun. Working on set with the younger members of the team, I just knew that Ultraman Trigger was going to be an amazing Ultraman series. I hope everyone enjoys the show every week. Great words by him, to certainly say the least. And that's got to be pretty trippy, don't you think? The idea of being 65 years old, you being around when the first iteration of Ultraman first dropped and watching it on TV, and now being a part of the Ultraman franchise, I think that certainly says a lot and goes a long way. And just the idea that it does give a little bit of a realization, not only to his age, but what he's maybe kind of accomplished in his career and things kind of coming full circle for him. Sometimes when people tell those kind of stories, I almost think that it was just kind of meant to be. You know what I mean? Like just that perfect casting where things just kind of come full circle for a person. It's pretty trippy how that kind of played out for this actor here. But congratulations to him to continue to be a part of an Ultraman series and franchise that's been around for such a long time. I feel like every cast member that has come on board, and I'm sure they're all going to say positive things about being a part of a franchise. I feel it. I honestly feel it when they say these things about Ultraman and their desire to be a part of a franchise just based off of how long it's been around and really the impact that it continues to have, you know, in the culture after all these years. The fact that it's almost like in a resurgence, if you will, right? Like they're getting a Shin Ultraman movie that's going to be taking Ultraman into a more modern time period, if you will. We've got a new animated film that's coming to us from Netflix on top of the animated Netflix series that Ultraman already has. So 55 years later, it almost seems as though the Ultraman franchise is getting stronger. So I'm really excited to go ahead and dive into Ultraman Trigger. Not sure who else on YouTube is going to be reviewing those or talking about it, but if you are looking for a home for the upcoming Ultraman Trigger review, this is certainly the place for you guys. So definitely go ahead and let us know your excitement level for Ultraman Trigger, or if you've ever dabbled in Ultraman at all, guys. I would love to certainly know your guys' thoughts. And last but not least, guys, our last topic for the day that we're going to be getting into is in regards to a Super Sentai series that I truly miss. I truly miss. I don't know how many months it's been since Kiramager has been off the air, but it feels like forever. Well, I'm certainly enjoying Zenkaiger to a certain extent. It's definitely not hitting me the same way that Kiramager certainly has, but we're still very much early into Zenkaiger, and I'm definitely planning on sticking around for the remainder of the season to see how it turns out. But when it comes to Kiramager, there's definitely a lot of characters that I certainly miss from that series that I definitely would love to see come back. But one of those characters, as you guys know, if you did watch our Kiramager reviews that I absolutely loved, was Yodonna herself. And guys, she's back. Yodonna is back. Let the simping begin for many of you guys out there. But yes, Yodonna's back. This comes to us from Tokusatsu Network, letting us know that Mashin Sentai Kiramager's Yodonna is set to return in a Toei Tokusatsu fan club special. So let's go ahead and highlight this, guys, because I didn't believe this when I saw it. I was thinking to myself, is this like fan made? But no, it looks like it's pretty official here. So let's go again. This is from Tokusatsu Network. Great images here. It says a new Kiramager special about Yodonna has been announced for the Toei Tokusatsu fan club and features veteran actors as well. It says that the Twitter account has announced an upcoming Mashin Sentai Kiramager special featuring the villainous Yodonna, played by Nishiko Momotsuki. It says this announcement comes with a content warning for children, which suggests the special is meant for older fan and adults. So put the kids to sleep. All right, put the kids to sleep. In the below trailer, we learned that Yodonna is back with a new plan. She'll form a powerful combination with Karame Red's classmate, real JK or high school girl Mizuki Kakihara, who she'll need for her latest plan. The specifics are unclear from the information released, but the girls dressed as maids are involved and can be seen fighting in the trailer. So it looks like we're getting a little bit of a team up here between Yodonna along with Juro's classmate, who eventually wind up having feelings for him by the end of the season, and Kakihara, who winds up making their return as well, guys. It says this special will also feature Ryo Kamaya returning as Juro and Tommy Tomo as well, alongside other veteran Tokusatsu actors. So that should be pretty cool to kind of see some of them coming back. And then it does say that Yodonna will be released on the Toei Tokusatsu fan club app this August, guys. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let me go ahead and pull this up because this is the trailer. Give it to me. Look at that tag team moves. Wait, we got fighting maids? They weren't kidding. What? Yodonna. Damn, Yodonna just chilling like somebody's supposed to like be there for every beck and call. Does that tongue thing still freak people out? I love it. I think it's such a great character trait for her. So there you have it, guys. The trailer for the Yodonna Return special set to go ahead and drop this upcoming August for you Yodonna fans out there. So I definitely will be checking this out. We'll see how good it is. I don't really know too much about the concept other than the fact that they are going to be teaming up to go ahead and take care of some business. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's got a new plan. She'll form a powerful combination. It says she'll need who she'll need for her latest plan. So I am kind of curious to see, if anything, one of the things that I would love to see in here is probably the fact that Tommy Tomo's returning. I think is great for Yodonna because we already know that Tommy Tomo's always had feelings for Yodonna since the moment that he's had the opportunity of seeing her. Just absolutely fell in love with her. And it was one of those things that towards the end of the season, I was kind of hoping that maybe Tommy Tomo would help redeem Yodonna, maybe pull her away from Jotunheim to go ahead and actually be her own person. You know what I mean? And so the fact that the season winds up ending with Tommy Tomo still being single, yet Juro winds up getting the girl at the end, if you will. I'm hoping with Tommy Tomo being in here that maybe we get to see maybe more jokes about him and Yodonna, or maybe if we do have if we're bringing in Juro's girlfriend in here to work alongside Yodonna, maybe that team up will open up Yodonna's eyes to one of Juro's besties in Tommy Tomo, and maybe she'll certainly look at him significantly different. So who knows? Who knows what the outcome is going to be for Tommy Tomo and Yodonna? But I'm glad that they're both going to be in this series together, to certainly say the least. Not sure what her plan is, but if you're going to tell me Yodonna's going to be back when it comes to Kiramager, I'm there already. So I'll definitely go ahead and check it out. But guys, I want to know your thoughts. You see this news that Yodonna's getting a special that's set to go ahead and drop on the Toei Tokusatsu Fan Club app in August. Will you guys be trying to check it out? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, guys, I think that will certainly wrap it up for at least all of our main topics for the day. But other than that, we'll probably get into some of your guys' live viewer questions here in just a little bit. Let's see here what some of you guys are saying, though, in regards to some of the articles that we have talked about already. Blossom coming through. That Kakihara Bimba, that Kakihara Bimbo is back. I freaking hate her. I know you're not the biggest fan of her, but she's teaming up with Yodonna, so I'm not going to complain there because I love me some Yodonna. But I know you absolutely hate Kakihara. AJ says, damn, I really want to see this crossover with Kiramager. I am kind of curious if like the Kiramagers themselves will actually pop up in here. Like will Juro and Tommy Tomo actually transform, or is this truly going to be just all about the ladies? You know what I mean? Blossom says, I hate when Yodonna sticks out her tongue. I absolutely love it. I think it's a great character trait that just continues to show just how weird and odd she is. But man, I think she's a great part of Kiramager, to say the least. Blossom Juro is too good for that woman. Hey, she's come around maybe a little bit. I know she, personality traits weren't the best. But yeah. Let me scroll up a little bit and see what. So yeah, to answer your question, Enrique, after Kiramager's series has ended, is there going to be a spinoff? Not quite a spinoff, but we do at least have a Yodonna special that's certainly headed our way. Let's see here. Daniel, going back to talking about if we were to have upcoming Super Sentai adaptions, he said that I'm really hoping for Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger adaptation. That's a possibility. We'll see. I don't know if how that would do in today's climate, but we'll see. AJ does says, if COVID hadn't happened, do you think we could have still gotten a crossover episode, and you think it would still be the same issue from the past, like no morph sequence, past references, and rushed? No, I mean, I feel pretty confident if COVID hadn't been an issue that yes, we would have gotten some sort of crossover, some very well thought out crossovers too. Let's see here. Lupin Ranger says, from reading what the person said, he specifically said Dino Fury is the last one. No Sentai adaptations anymore, and also the partnership with Toei is done. Why would Simon answer some rando's comment like, "Hey, that's not true," and then it's actually true? He could have just ignored it. He probably could have. He probably honestly could have. Lupin for sure. Um, I just think that maybe it's a case of, again, whether it's true or not, the fact that you're spitting it out to be truth, I think, is dangerous. And I don't want to say dangerous in a sense, but that's how false information gets around. If Hasbro hasn't come out and officially stated anything, then it's not truth. Then, right? Like, it's not confirmed. It could it turn out to be true? Absolutely. But I think maybe it's the idea of maybe just pumping the brakes a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. Blossom, going back to one, he says, you're right, Adam. MMPR left a serious impact. It's not every day when you're inspired by Sentai-based superheroes. Yeah, it's not every day at all. Not every day at all. Adrian says, I cringe when wrestlers reference Power Rangers. A lot of others make fun of them. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if wrestlers make fun of Power Rangers. I mean, it is a sense that, I mean, I've seen New Day Rocket, I've seen Grand Metalik, Metalik from WWE rock a couple of Power Ranger inspired costumes. Was it El Dorado? I think from Lucha Party. I believe they were really inspired by Power Ranger stuff also. So I like it. I like when other people, whether they're wrestlers or famous actors or big people in Hollywood or whatever the case may be, when they rock that type of stuff, that's just more attention to Power Rangers that we didn't have before. That's coming to the fandom. So I'll take it. AJ does say, so cool that the actor of Bosco from Gokaiger is going to be in the Ultraman series. Would it be funny if they did a small reference to Gokaiger of Bosco? I think it would be pretty cool. Just a little reference. It doesn't need to be a massive Easter egg, but based off of the fact of Bosco being also a pirate treasure hunter, I think the fact that he's going back to play a treasure hunter in the Ultraman series, I think that's pretty awesome. Adrian, he says, I hope we get to see Chance Perez sing and perform on the show. I saw a pic from a while back that he and Tessa did something together. Oh, that would be pretty cool. I would love to see that. Maybe if it's a Javi and Izzy thing that they perform together, maybe it's something that will bring Warden Garcia around and see just how talented his son truly is. Enrique says, "Is Saber going to have a final form?" I believe so. I believe I've been seeing some magazine scans of a final form, perhaps for Saber, if I'm not mistaken. So I do believe so. I do believe so. Adrian Perez says, "Who is the real Matt Hunt? I hear and see his name everywhere. I kept thinking he was one of the creators of Power Ranger comic books. No, I only know real Matt Hunt mostly from Twitter. He just has a really great insight in regards to Tokusatsu. I feel like the man's been a part of that fandom for years. I don't know exactly how attached he is to all that, but he always seems to have some great insight. I don't know if this guy has sources or whatever the case may be, but he's definitely become a rather reliable source, especially on Twitter when it comes to Tokusatsu out there. So I've seen him on and off of Twitter from time to time, but he's popular enough in the Tokusatsu community, I feel like. All right. Let me go ahead and start jumping into some of your guys' live viewer questions as we make our transition over here. If anything, I think I'm probably going to, after this video airs, I might probably tomorrow, I might edit out or pull the Simon Bennett stuff that we talked about and maybe might make it as its own individual video on like the future of Power Rangers and Simon Bennett and his involvement. So we'll see. We'll see. Wow, we got a ton of questions from you guys today. All right, so bear with us. Kick back, relax, get your popcorn or your breakfast or lunch or whatever the case may be. Well, it's probably lunchtime wherever you guys are at. First question today, guys. Jessica Friedman says, "Hey, Adam, would you like to see a Power Ranger Kamen Rider crossover one day? And are there plans for a team-up episode this year?" Well, I can tell you what. I don't think we are going to be getting the Power Ranger Kamen Rider crossover any day. But I will say Zenkaiger and Saber are doing a crossover for Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. So I'm definitely very much looking towards that. But as far as an American version of Power Rangers and Kamen Rider crossover, or just Power Rangers and Kamen Rider, I don't see that happening though. Are there plans for a team-up episode this year? If you're talking about Dino Fury, I don't believe that there are. Simon Bennett has come out and talked about the idea that the pandemic has really caused them to not be able to do a team-up episode or a big crossover event. So while I'm not expecting one, who knows? Maybe Simon Bennett has a surprise under his, has a surprise waiting for us. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some New Zealand Power Ranger actors that might be able to stop on by and film an episode or two. So do I think we're going to get a cameo? I do think so. I don't think it's going to be as big of a team up episode as some are expecting, but it wouldn't surprise me if Simon Bennett does have something up his sleeve, if you will, a surprise for us. Power Rangers Legacy has a question. A couple questions. How would you feel if Hasbro's Power Ranger movie went exclusively to a streaming service instead of in theaters? We know the general public to this day don't care or think Power Rangers is still a stupid children's show, especially movie critics who always say I grew up watching just Mighty Morphin as an excuse to give a bad review for a movie they like they did with 2017. So many negative reviews on YouTube of the 2017 movie. Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Power Rangers Legacy, because I actually have an individual video that I will be dropping tomorrow for you guys that will answer that very question. So definitely go ahead and look out for that, because I do have some things to say about Power Rangers going to a streaming service, because I do feel as though that's the direction in which it's going. So yes, I do feel like it will be on a streaming service, but we will go into further detail for you guys tomorrow. Second question, does Hasbro really have anything to do with Dino Fury at all? I read a post by someone that Hasbro has nothing to do with putting the show on Netflix this early or making it happen, plus 3 new episodes that haven't aired yet. So does Hasbro really have anything to do with Dino Fury? Absolutely. Absolutely they do. I mean, when it comes to this series, it's being produced by Entertainment One, which is owned by Hasbro. The executive producers that are attached to this show work for Hasbro. Simon Bennett, I'm pretty sure, if anything, maybe he's I don't know anything about contracts and things like that, but I would assume that they are working for Hasbro also. So while, don't get me wrong, the mindset and the ideas and stuff that come out of that come out of Dino Fury, I'm sure truly do come from the minds of Simon Bennett and the writer room and things like that as they put this show together. But make no mistake, the person that's got to check, give the big thumbs up and approval for a lot of what Dino Fury is certainly doing is in regards to Hasbro. So yes, Hasbro really has a lot to do with Dino Fury, and the idea of it has nothing to do with putting the show on Netflix this early or making it happen. I find that hard to believe. If anything, it's probably Hasbro that has to make these the discussions in regards to licensing agreements and stuff, because Power Rangers belongs to Hasbro. Hasbro owns Power Rangers. I mean, they've put $500+ million into getting it. So anytime you see the name Power Rangers, make no mistake, it is in fact a Hasbro property. So if Power Rangers goes over to Netflix, those are deals that Hasbro is in fact making. So whoever told you that, unfortunately, I don't believe that they are correct. Hasbro really has a lot to do with Dino Fury and the future of the series going forward. When Super Sentai, your next question is, when Super Sentai Zenkaiger being the 45th season in Japan, if you could predict the future, what would you like the next series to be themed after that we have not yet had, or what would you like the next series to be themed after that we have not had? And do you want the Rangers themselves to go back to the primary blue, red, yellow, or mix it even more? I'm okay with them continuing to mix it up. You says, and do you want the Rangers, when not morphed, to be human or a different species? I still like the idea of them being humans. I'm okay with the idea if they want to do something like on a different planet, and there being a mixture of humans and aliens. I'm okay with either or. I don't really have a preference. I mean, my preference just comes down to the idea of good story, good quality storytelling. If you can tell a great story, whether they're humans or aliens, I really don't have any. I really don't have any suggestions on what they do there. As far as if I could predict the future, what would I like the next series to be themed after? My God. I would be cool with bugs again, or insects of some kind. I feel like we haven't seen them in a minute. We've already done animals. We just did robots. I've always been a supporter of the idea of an evil ranger team, or maybe even a solo ranger that maybe convinces or brings over some of these evil rangers to the good side during the progression of the entire season, like maybe focusing on the sixth ranger of a 5-group evil ranger team or something like that. Like I've always loved the idea of there being an evil Super Sentai team, and then a government or some sort of special force creates a sixth ranger, but this time it's good to go ahead and face off against the other team. Like, this one person is so powerful enough to be able to take on those six rangers, those other 5 rangers. And then slowly, as the season progresses, they slowly start kind of switching sides and things like that. So I think it would be pretty fun. But there's a ton of things. Sports, I mentioned this a few years back. Sports, I would like to see. I would even be open to the idea of going back to more martial arts based. I feel like the last martial arts one was probably, well, it's been a while since Die Ranger. We also even had maybe like the Jungle Fury, whatever the Super Sentai version was of Jungle Fury, maybe that more hand-to-hand combat, if you will. I definitely would like to explore different versions of martial arts, just because of the fact that we've progressed so far since the last time they've had a series like that. Like, I would love to see Muay Thai placed in there, maybe some judo, maybe some mixed martial arts, maybe I don't know, just a ton of different martial arts once again. But those are just some of the ideas. We did a video years ago in regards to that, and those are some of the ideas that I had. So we'll see what happens. Let's see here. Marcelino Vasquez has a couple questions. This question is not specifically on Power Rangers, but more on comic books in general. I understand why issues like Beyond the Grid, Draken, New Dawn, and a couple of the graphic novels got a lot of hate. And I'm not saying that hate is undeserving. It's okay to hate something as long as your criticisms are valid. What I don't understand is how come people aren't open to any characters or storylines from the hated storylines returning. The writers could return to utilize the characters and storylines in a different way and or fix the problems they screwed up in, especially since this isn't a TV show or movie, so you don't have to rely on actors, a film crew, or studio. All you need is a writer, artist, and a piece of paper to make a comic book. And I don't get why the writers don't take advantage of this opportunity. Well, I will say this, Marcelino. Thank you very much for the comment and the question. But I will say this. I definitely agree with you. I haven't personally heard too many people complaining about the idea of not returning some of these characters. If you have, then I definitely believe you for sure, Marcelino. I just saying for me, I haven't heard that too much. But your mindset is absolutely correct in this. Like, just because whoever was the writer at that time for that graphic novel or for that storyline purpose, if you have another writer that's taken a crack at these characters, it's always a possibility that whoever brings on the character a second time around or brings them back, maybe they'll handle that character in a significantly different way that is different from what you originally had read. Maybe it winds up turning the character into somebody that you truly appreciate, right? Like for me, and I feel like they have kind of done that a little bit. Like when I go back to Shattered Grid, right? I wasn't the biggest fan of Power Rangers Samurai, but Kyle Higgins winds up bringing in Lauren from Samurai and truly utilizes her fantastically well and interacts her with some of these characters. So again, a bad season that was handled piss poorly, but a writer taking a character out of a bad season, placing them into a comic book and revitalizing them, right? Giving them a second life, giving them a little bit more of an appreciation, if you will. Similar thing with Necessary Evil, if I'm not mistaken. I believe towards the end of that, when we're trying to the climax, I believe we see the return of the Solar Ranger from Beyond the Grid. Now, while I myself, and I feel like many others, weren't necessarily the fondest of that Beyond the Grid storyline, there definitely are a ton of characters that you can definitely mine from that storyline and put elsewhere. And I feel like the Solar Ranger, I believe they wind up bringing her back briefly to go ahead and help the Rangers out at the very end of the Necessary Evil storyline. So we have seen that idea of characters who were in bad seasons or bad storylines being pulled and utilized significantly differently to bring more awareness and to help bring them into just a better storyline also and utilize them even more correctly. So it's definitely possible. So when people say, if people say the idea of I don't want to see them back because I hated that storyline, well, if it's a new artist, if it's specifically a new writer per se, I think it's worth giving them a chance because they may utilize the character in a significantly different way than they were before. But thank you for the comment, Marcelino. Adam Perea. What's up, Mr. Perea? Thank you very much for coming through. A couple questions from you too. When Hasbro first announced that they were purchasing the Power Ranger franchise, were you excited or still had a sour taste in your mouth from the Neo Saban era seasons? Did Beast Morphers feel like a new beginning or still the same? For me, Beast Morphers felt like a little bit of a new beginning. There still were some formulaic thoughts in ways in how they did Power Rangers that felt kind of Neo Saban at times, but I felt like it was definitely trying to branch itself off and separate itself from some of the past Neo Saban series, and I think it definitely did that. So when Hasbro first announced that they were purchasing the Power Rangers, I was really excited for it. While I definitely had a sour taste in my mouth from Neo Saban, I just thought to myself, thank God it's not Saban. And that alone wind up bringing a sense of relief to me. So to where I was really happy and really excited for what Hasbro was certainly going to do. I mean, we've seen Hasbro take swings at a couple G.I. Joe movies, which unfortunately didn't do too well, but they've clearly have tried to rebound and are creating a new G.I. Joe universe. They've done a great job with Transformers, even if you don't necessarily didn't think that the Transformers movies were that great. They still banked at the box office. You know what I mean? They still brought in a ton of money. Bumblebee really helped revitalize that franchise and give us something fresh and new. What Hasbro's doing with some of their content on Netflix and other streaming services as well really do go a long way. So I was always excited for what Hasbro we're certainly going to do when they purchase Power Rangers. Because again, I think the idea of forking over $500+ million, I think sends a message that you have big plans for the franchise. So that excited me. You also say, when did you first find out that Power Rangers was owned by Disney? And did you think that they did a really great job at handling Power Rangers seasons up until Saban brought the franchise back? So for me, I fell off of Power Rangers for a really long time. And I think I didn't realize that Power Rangers had got picked up by Disney until Mystic Force. Because I remember I'm a huge comic book collector, and I would just remember going through reading my comic books, and usually at like the very back cover or the very front cover, once you opened it up, there's usually like an ad for something. And I used to see Power Ranger Mystic Force ads all over the place. And I think based off of that alone, just some of the stuff that was on the ad, I realized that it was owned by Disney probably around that time period. I still wasn't watching Power Rangers at that time. I fell off, but I was aware, I think, Mystic Force by that time that it was owned by Disney. But when I did go back and eventually catch up and rewatch the series, I really loved the way that they handled their Power Ranger shows. I really did. I thought they handled a lot of great original footage. I mean, don't get me wrong, they certainly did mix in Super Sentai footage in there too, but some of just the stunt coordination, the second unit directors, a lot of original fight sequences. Really, I felt like they had a better handle on how the world works, how teenagers act. I think they had a really good understanding when it comes to just their characters and stuff. So I always had a blast. I always thought that they handled them really well, because for me, it was always a thing of, it always surprised me when I came to eventually learn that Disney wasn't too fond of the Power Ranger franchise, didn't really know what to do with it, because when I go back and I watch the Disney era stuff, it doesn't come across as a company that doesn't know what they're doing. It felt very much like, not that they necessarily had a plan, but I wonder if maybe they got tired of doing the same things themselves. When I watch Power Rangers from Disney, I think they did a pretty stellar job. I honestly think the purchase of Power Rangers back from Saban maybe backpedaled this franchise and took it like 10 years or 10, 15 years into the past, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I always thought Disney did pretty good by Power Rangers. You also ask, besides Jordan Fight's debut in the upcoming episodes of Dino Fury on Netflix, what else do you want to see in Dino Fury series that you think may or may not happen, like surprises, maybe a couple of guest appearances by former Rangers who are based in New Zealand? Well, I've always wanted to see Rose McIver come back from RPM and iZombie and things like that. I know, was it Rose McIver? I can't remember her last name, but Rose. I remember going to a convention here out in Dallas where she was at. I think iZombie had just wrapped up its series, had a series finale, and she came to talk about the show. And I remember approaching Rose and asking her a question about, was like, hey, you know, Hasbro just picked up Power Rangers, right? Power Rangers is under brand new leadership now. They're doing things significantly different. You know, now that, you know, with your show no longer being on the air, would you be open to the idea of coming back to Power Rangers in some capacity, whether it's a cameo or not? And she said she absolutely would love to. She says, one, I'm out of work, so I need a job. And then she said, you know, considering the fact that Power Rangers films in New Zealand, where she's originally from, I don't know if she lives there, or if she lives in the state and her relatives and family live in New Zealand as of now. But I know she's always mentioned the idea that she would love to come back. I don't know how they would fit Rose from, you know, RPM into this series, but I would absolutely take it based off of where she's from. But yeah, I would be open to some cameos. Again, I don't necessarily know if we're going to get a full team up or crossover just based off of anything Simon Bennett has said, but a cameo from a past New Zealand, sure, why not? I can easily see that happening at some point in time. I'm definitely expecting Weisel to pop up in here. If I had any surprises, you know, maybe Void Knight's girlfriend or wife or his love, whoever she is, I definitely am leaning towards the idea that she's probably going to turn out to be one of the main villains, maybe going forward, right? We have Precious from Real Soldier, that while is not the final boss, she's pretty close to it. I honestly would love to see, was it Santora, I believe is her name, Void Knight's love. I would love to see her maybe turn into that as a formidable foe. So we'll see. Maybe we're waking a monster, you know, maybe she looks all sweet and innocent now, but when you wake her up, there's a lot more to her than what we see. So yeah, cameos. I'm expecting Weisel to certainly return. A nice little team up between Weisel and Mucus, I think, would be great. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in my head as of right now as to what I can expect. Let me see if I have any other notes, if I've written any notes of Dino Fury and things that I would like to see. I wonder if I had that. No, I don't have anything right now off the top of my head, but good questions overall, though. Let's see here. Who else we got? Johnny Marrero's got a couple questions. Are you sad that Dino Fury ended its production? I mean, I'm not necessarily so much sad as I mean, sad that our Rangers have to go back home. You know, I'm sure it was an experience for them unlike any other. So I do feel sad about the idea of departing and separating from people that you've really grown to love over the past 9 months. So I'm sad in that sense, but not sad that it's finished, completed. If anything, I'm excited. That means that we're all raring to go now. Give us Dino Fury in its completion. I'm ready for it. Do you think that Simon Bennett will still be involved in Power Rangers? We kind of talked about this in one of our main topics earlier, but yeah, I definitely am hoping that he still will be involved. You know, I did mention one of the tweets that I put out there of really hoping that Simon Bennett does return, even though I'm not certain what the future of Power Rangers is going to hold. You know, I asked the question, I'm curious if Simon Bennett would like to return to the franchise. And he actually liked my tweet. So I would assume that maybe he does want to go ahead and actually return to Power Rangers in some capacity. And I think Hasbro, based off of just the positivity that's come out of Dino Fury, how much Simon Bennett has interacted with the fandom and just how vocal the fandom is, I feel like it's certainly, I think they even had Dino Fury trending on Twitter at one point in time this season also. I got to think if you're Hasbro executives, you're paying attention to that kind of stuff and see that he's doing a pretty good job. If you're not paying attention, then they're not doing their job right. But I think Simon Bennett has certainly proven himself. So yeah, I would love to see him still be involved. Will we still get a new season of Power Rangers without Super Sentai adaptation, or will we get something different from both from the PR brand, or both? Again, I'm still leaning towards the idea that we're not getting Sentai adaptations any longer. Again, none of that has been confirmed. That's simply pure speculation. So will we get new seasons of Power Rangers? We definitely will. Whether or not we're going to get it with or without Sentai, I can't answer that question for you, but I can just tell you which direction I'm leaning, Johnny. And I just feel like the idea of rebooting and reimagining Power Rangers when you say something like that, really just makes me think that we're changing the formula of how we've done things before in the past. Some of the moves that Power Rangers and Hasbro has certainly made has made me feel that way, if you will. If you've got a steward and somebody that's trying to shape and mold this world, I don't know where Toei and Super Sentai footage falls into that category. When you tell me animation, the movie, adult themed, and kid stuff is going to be in like one giant connected universe, that makes me think that it's all original stuff. But we'll see. Maybe eventually Hasbro will give us some confirmation. But again, I do think that's why Simon Bennett is leaning that route and saying, let's not say these unfounded assertions, right? Because nobody has factually come out and said, this is what's happening with Power Rangers in the future. So, don't want to spread misinformation or anything like that. That's one of the reasons that when we talk about it here, we make sure that there's an emphasis. It's not confirmed. It's just speculation. But again, I am very much leaning towards that direction. Doomsday. What's up, Doomsday? Wait, I think you had two. I forgot to send this question alongside the others. Okay, well, let me get to this one first, because which season do you think was the most forgettable? For me, at least, Operation Overdrive. Outside of the crossover event, I've cared to revisit it. But for some people, maybe Operation Overdrive was your shit. And if it was, that's awesome. Keep loving it. Do you think that James Napier, the Red Ranger, and Emma Lahana, the Yellow Ranger, were actually fans of Power Rangers, but then after Dino Thunder, they fell out of the franchise and didn't want anything to do with the show? That I don't know. I've never really read any of their articles or panels to see what their levels of enthusiasm was as they were getting into Dino Thunder. So I really can't answer that question. For some people, maybe the franchise was too much for them. Maybe the fandom was too much for them. Maybe they're just actors in the sense that's behind them now. They're ready to go ahead and move on to bigger and better things, and they just don't necessarily want to be known for just that. You don't necessarily want to. It's like the Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker effect, right? Granted, Mark Hamill did eventually go on to do other things, most notably known for like his voice acting work and things like that. But as far as like a movie star, being in front of the camera all the time, outside of his stuff as the trickster on The Flash and things like that, I don't know how any other big significant roles comparable to like Star Wars that Mark Hamill was certainly in. So I think, I wonder if that's a case of people just saw him as Luke Skywalker, that his character almost became bigger than him, So I get the idea. And I don't think it's an FU to the fan base so much as it is, I just want something different from my career, But again, I don't know James. I don't know Emma in that capacity. I don't know if they've ever said anything hurtful to the fan. You know what I mean? I don't really know that sense. So I can't really speak for them. But, it wouldn't surprise me if just as an actor, you just want to move on to other things in your career. Which Ranger color do you like as Jason David Frank best as? For me, I'm going to go, if you're talking about Ranger color, I'll go Z05 red. I love the helmet design. I love just the costume design. Zeo's one of my favorite seasons for sure. Up there with In Space, Time Force. The list can go on and on. But I've always loved JDF in that red, man. Maybe it's that ponytail too that helps, but I always thought JDF looked great in red. Let's see here. AJ's got a couple questions. What storyline from Power Rangers from an old season that had missed potential you would like to be used in future Power Rangers, or one that was awesome but reinvented for a new series? One just came. I was thinking about this question yesterday, AJ, and it didn't even. I was having the hardest time trying to figure something out. I actually would love to see the Alien Rangers return in some capacity. Like, I would love to see more storylines based off of the Alien Rangers. Very short-lived, if you will, but I would love to see that. Maybe what happened with Billy after going to their home planet and stuff. Yeah, give me a further utilization of the Alien Rangers storyline. I would probably want to tackle that a little bit more. When did you realize or find out that Nickelodeon has never really cared about Power Rangers, and why a lot of the Neil Saban seasons were pretty bad, aside from Dino Charge as a whole, either from Saban himself or the network by watering down the show? You know, I think for me, this revelation for me came really late. I want to say my first revelation that Nickelodeon really didn't care for Power Rangers so much was probably Ninja Steel. Just some of the things that, and I'm sure it was maybe Saban's choices of just some of the things that they held back from doing in Ninja Steel, learning more about how the hiatus works, who's in charge of that type of thing, lack of promotion and stuff. I feel like all that stuff really started hitting me when I started watching Ninja Steel. So maybe a little bit more late to the party than some people, but I think that for me is when it really hit that, man, Netflix really, Nickelodeon really don't give a shit about this show, does it? So yeah. Also, you say small backtrack from last week. Do you think if Nickelodeon doesn't air episodes 9 through 11 of Dino Fury after Netflix, that Hasbro will have Netflix sit on those episodes and not even release 12 to 20 or 22? Well, I will say, do I think Nickelodeon doesn't air episodes 9 through 11 on Dino Fury? Wait, hold on. Do you think if Nickelodeon doesn't air episodes 9 through 11, okay, after Nickelodeon, Hasbro will have Netflix sit on those episodes and not even release 12? Yes. So let me see if I can pull this up here real quick for you guys, because that's really a big question that's kind of come up, is how, with Power Rangers going over to Netflix, we see episodes 1 through 11 being presented to us, so we know that we are getting brand new episodes on Netflix first instead of Nickelodeon. I think says a lot. Let me see if I can pull this up here. So I posted earlier this week the idea of my uncertainty as to what the future of Power Ranger holds, right? And I had a couple of replies already. Jaden Groves, who I don't know if he's still in our on our live chat or not. He says, I was trying to watch Dino Fury on Nick, but it says it was removed because of streaming rights. And he even put up a screenshot for this. It says, sorry, this video is not found or no longer available to the date or rights restrictions. So it looks as though Nickelodeon's site, is that where it says on Nick? Yeah, has lost its streaming rights for Power Rangers. He also goes on to say, yeah, I don't think the rest of the episodes are going to air on Nickelodeon. I think that the contract has already expired. And so I find that interesting. I found that interesting. And it does throw in another question mark for me as of right now in regards to, will Dino Fury even be on Nickelodeon for the second half of the series? Or if it's something that Nickelodeon or that Netflix is just going to drop. Now, streaming rights certainly work differently from just TV rights, if I'm not mistaken. You know, if Netflix now has a deal to post episodes 1 through 11 streaming wise, it would make sense that Nickelodeon no longer has the rights to go ahead and air those past episodes on their show. I don't know how long these rights are, if they're for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, who knows? I have no idea. But it seems as though the transition from Netflix to Nickelodeon has kind of started. And so it does kind of beg the question here of, does that mean that Nickelodeon will just not be airing new episodes at all? Or will they still air them when the hiatus ends, but they'll just not be able to have them on their website for the foreseeable future? That, unfortunately, I'm not sure. But it wouldn't surprise me with this if that means that Netflix will be showing Power Rangers from this point on. We'll have to see, guys, but the plot thickens. The plot continues to thicken in regards to what the future is. So, yeah, the Nickelodeon site no longer provides the past Dino Fury episodes, with Dino Fury now going to Netflix as of June 15th for the first half of this season, introducing us to brand new episodes. It's a fair question to ask if Nickelodeon will ever have another brand new Power Ranger episode to be aired there, guys. So I'm still very much up in the air in regards to that. But I am kind of curious to know what you guys think in regards to that revelation yourself. Let's see here. But if anything, I would think that if Nickelodeon's not going to show new episodes, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Netflix that drops part 2. You know what I'm saying? The second half of the season, maybe sooner rather than later. So we'll see what happens. L'Oreal's got a couple questions. Is that right? Is that who's next? Yeah, L'Oreal's got a couple questions. What are you expecting for Dino Fury since they moved to Netflix? You know, I do think that Dino Fury will still look the same. I think it's still going to feel the same. You know, I think they might have filmed this season with the expectation that it was going to be on Nickelodeon anyway. So I'm not expecting the second half of Dino Fury to do anything significantly different than what they would have on Nickelodeon. I think that it's probably going to still feel the same, but just be broadcast somewhere else. So I'm not really expecting too many things outside of any surprises that maybe Simon Bennett has in store for us for the series as a whole. Did you see that spinoff of Kiramager is doing for Yodonna, as well as that Kakihara Bimbo? If so, what do you think? I don't really know what to think outside of the fact that I know people are going to be simping hardcore, and I'm just going to be loving the return of Yodonna. She was one of my favorite characters in the season. Loved her interactions, loved her personality. Yeah, she definitely made Jotunheim. She definitely whipped them into shape, to say the least. You also say, sorry about that. I still don't forgive her for how she treated my sweet Babu, talking about Kakihara. Well, listen, L'Oreal, you're gonna have to forgive her at some point in time, because you know why? Because Juru has forgiven her, and Juru is giving her a second opportunity, seeing things that are within her that he didn't see before, and you know, Juru's perception of Kakihara certainly is changing. So maybe you got to jump on board with the changes that your sweet Babu is experiencing. Also, come on, L'Oreal, you got to be supportive of him. Shadow Nova says, if we are to get a 30th anniversary season, would you like to see a Forever Red Part 2? I would be down for that. Yeah, give that to me, Shadow Nova. I love that idea. Also, I discussed this with a friend about the Hasbro's plans for Power Rangers. I had the idea that they don't have to split from Toei to do the other project. Like, say the Sentai adaptations continue as is, and the adult shows and stuff expands on the lore of Power Rangers, like the animated series can be the expansion of the Alien Rangers. What do you think? Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it possible? Absolutely. My question would just be, do we want to make it that difficult? Right? Do we want to make it that hard for our creators? And what I mean by that is, if Jonathan Entwistle has a plan that he wants to execute, right? But the kid show also has to be in line with what he's creating, then that means not only do you have to find a Super Sentai season that will match what he's trying to create, just from an aesthetic point of view, like design wise and stuff, but then you also got to take Jonathan Entwistle's designs and stuff, and then you got to find a storyline that will connect not only Jonathan's story to the kids show, or like branch off from Jonathan's concepts and ideas. So not only do you have to make it line up with what they're creating there, but then you also have to line it up with the footage that you get from Super Sentai and somehow rework an all original storyline into that footage. Could it make it work? Absolutely. I personally wouldn't want to ask that of my creators, though. If you want to keep the kids show that way, that's great. I think there's room for it. But I still think the idea of just giving us all original footage, 100% creative freedom, leaning on content that's ours instead of somebody else's, I think goes a lot longer of a way than Super Sentai adaptation, but that's just me. Do I think what you're suggesting could work? Absolutely. If they want to take that time and effort to make it work, it absolutely can work. It's just it's just a matter of if that's the route that they certainly want to go. But that's a great question, though, man. That's a really great question. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I would just ask everybody, let's not get our hopes up too much for either one side or the other. Let's certainly be patient and certainly wait what Hasbro is certainly providing for us. But I do think I don't know. I just lean to the idea of original content is king. I just think, the idea of having to share revenue, having to force yourself to be creative and work around other people's creations and stuff. I'm just not a fan of that. If you're telling me you're going to reboot and reimagine something, I think they should just go in 100% creatively than adaptation. But again, that's just me. Let me go ahead, and now that we've wrapped up all of our questions, let me go through some of these things that you guys are saying. He says, I see where you're coming from. I just posed this idea so that we don't have to just have MMPR content for both movie and TV shows. And again, that's speculation, though, right? That's saying that MMPR content would be for movies and TV shows, and we just don't know that. Movie show wise, I will say this. I feel like a lot of people latch onto this MMPR concept because I think I don't know if it's a sense of people are under the impression that we're just going to get another Jason, Zach, Trini, Kimberly, Billy. For me, for some reason, I just don't see that happening when it comes to Hasbro. I think the idea of keeping MMPR as the overall theme, yet switching out costume designs, switching out our traditional characters for all new characters, brand new Zord designs, brand new villains, brand new concepts, just with the MMPR term attached to it is where I feel Hasbro certainly might be going. And if that's the case, I don't see where the not wanting to go down the rabbit hole of MMPR is coming from. If it was the same old, maybe. But if we're just taking You Are Now the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but we're giving them all brand new designs of stuff, that feels like a fresh take. That feels like a take of MMPR that I personally would be open to hearing, whether that be movie, whether that be a second generation television series that they explore. And again, that's not to say that the animated series will go down that route, but I would expect the animated series and even the kids series to explore maybe either other teams, maybe brand new teams that we've never been accustomed to before. So I do think that there's a big chance of newness coming our way from Hasbro, even if it is recycling the MMPR term. right? Adam says Power Rangers aren't just MMPR. You're absolutely right. But what's the difference between, like, because at that point, it's just the name, right? At that point, it's just the name. Because technically, then MMPR wouldn't be the same as it was in the past, right? So while Power Rangers, technically true, isn't just MMPR, but if we're bringing in new characters, new costumes, new Zords, new villains, right? That's just like a brand new season. We're just taking the name MMPR. That's a recognizable IP for the general public, but giving them a fresh new take on things. That's a new series to me completely. And I don't see that at all as Hasbro rehashing or recycling things. If it was new adventures of Jason, Zach, and Bill, yeah, then that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I don't need to see Zordon again. I don't need to see the same Zords. I don't need any of that. But if you're just passing down a title, and if you're just passing down a title from one generation to the next, I don't see the pushback. That maybe that's just disconnection with me. That feels fresh. That feels like a new take. That feels like something new to me. But we'll see. Like, taking the name to me isn't lazy. Taking the same formula and same characters and same villains, that's lazy. But if you're going to be providing me with new of everything, really, but maybe just a new generation getting that MMPR name for themselves, I think that could work. Adam says that's one of the annoyances of movie critics or YouTube movie reviewers who graded the 2017 movie. They kept saying that they only watched MMPR. But to be fair, though, Adam, you only needed to watch MMPR for that 2017 movie, right? Because that movie was rehashing MMPR again. So, that's a rehash. I think the idea of giving us another MMPR movie, but with new characters, just new everything. I don't see that as a rehash. I don't see that as lazy, though. But I don't think you needed to see any other Power Ranger series to watch the 2017 film. I just don't. Adrian says, would you like to see Alpha back or Zordon again in some form? No, I don't. We know Alpha is alive after the 15th anniversary in Operation Overdrive. He's on Earth with Adam. I don't necessarily need to. If you want to make references to that as part of your past, cool. 100% okay with that. But I don't necessarily need to see them in a new form, though. I think their story was certainly told a while back. Power Ranger Legacy says, remember when we still got the set photos behind the scenes of Dino Fury? We saw a pic of Russell practicing fighting Void Knight by himself. Does that mean Zato finds out who Void Knight is? I don't remember those pictures per se, but if anything, it could just be a case of, the behind the scenes footage from the very first episode of seeing Russell practicing, because they did in fact fight. Him and Void Knight did in the very first episode. Regardless, though, I do think that Zato will find out who Void Knight is. I think that's in the works for sure. The fact that he references, where did you get that armor from? Clearly, it sounds as though maybe somebody stole it. So I don't even know if Zato knows who's under the armor. Maybe he does. But he's definitely doesn't sound too familiar at all. So I definitely do think we will find out. He certainly will find out. JB says, what? Says the whole Toei and Hasbro split, wasn't that announced a full year ago? Well, I would say Hasbro has never come out and actually announced it. Neither has Toei. Remember, we're basing all this speculation off of an Illuminati article that was released saying that that was in fact going to happen. Again, we've definitely done our fair share of videos as to why I felt like it's extremely plausible that that certainly is in fact the case. But I don't recall Hasbro ever coming out and officially saying that, yeah, the Toei split is done. We're not going to be using Super Sentai footage any longer. Again, that all came from a Illuminati article about a year or so ago. So no, it wasn't officially announced. We've just been I think the community, if anything, has just been latching onto a lot of the announcements that Hasbro has made in regards to the future of Power Rangers. And when you hear terms like rebooting, reimagining, right, taking Power Rangers into a new era and things like that, when they've talked about it and like these big fan first Friday sort of events, it feels very much like Hasbro's taking this ball that they spent $512 million on and are running with it to kind of create their own original stuff. So based off of some of the announcements, I can see why people are very much leaning towards the idea of this Hasbro and Toei split actually happening. But again, no announcements have been made, which is one of the reasons why Simon Bennett says that it's an unfounded assertion. You know, when people come out and say it's not, it's that's definitely happening. Nobody's come out and actually said that as of yet. So I think that's Simon Bennett maybe correcting some people, maybe giving some hope to some of those that certainly want Super Sentai and Power Rangers to remain connected. AJ says, yeah, I'm still confused if Hasbro would have Netflix sit on episodes 9 through 11 and not air 12 to 20, or if Nickelodeon doesn't care to air the leftovers after Netflix. I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, regardless, Netflix will be airing the new episodes. Now, whether or not Nickelodeon comes back with new episodes later in the year, I'm pretty sure Netflix will still drop the second half of the season. So episodes 12 through 22, it will be dropping on Netflix. The big question just simply is whether or not if Nickelodeon is going to air those new episodes before they wind up dropping on Netflix, or if Netflix now is just going to be showing all new episodes going forward. So I wouldn't necessarily say Nickelodeon doesn't care to air the leftovers. That's you kind of putting words in Nickelodeon's mouth. I mean, we know that Nickelodeon doesn't really do the best when it comes to promoting the show, but we don't really know the full range of what this contract is. Maybe the contract expired in June with Nickelodeon, and maybe that's why Netflix now is posting their stuff come as of June 15th. You know, we don't really know all the details. Datilla does have a question. He says, not Power Ranger related, but I would love to hear your thoughts on Andrade joining AEW. And what was your immediate reaction? Well, I said this on Twitter. I think WWE made a massive mistake. Andrade is a star. I mean, from what I saw of him in NXT, always tore the house down in all of his matches. I feel like it took him some time to come around for some people just because of his the language barrier and things like that. But I love the angry Hispanic man, you know, that's out here just yelling into the mic in Spanish, you know, and then having like his English translator and Zelina Vega. I love that aspect. It's something that works for Asuka pretty well, even though, you know, she does utilize some of her English from time to time. It's something that I wish that they had did with Andrade, but unfortunately they missed out on a freaking young up and comer. I can't remember how old this guy is, but just talent just oozing out of this guy. I mean, the charisma is unmistakable. So AEW just got them a top, an A+ superstar. I don't think this is Andrade's last time coming to WWE. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe 5 or 6 years down the road he eventually maybe comes back. But just talk about missed opportunity, man. I mean, WWE has made some some decisions on cutting some wrestlers that I have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Like Samoa Joe, even though Homeboy's dealt with injuries, I really enjoyed him in commentary, and he deserved a much better run in the title scene than he certainly got. I don't even know if Homeboy ever won a title, but he should have at least won it off of AJ at least one time. But Samoa Joe's gone. Braun Strowman is gone, which I'm just like, what? What are you doing? Aleister Black is gone, which is like, what? Come on, guys. Aleister, Andrade, just stars in the making that anywhere else that they would go would be a huge draw. And they've just made some really boneheaded decisions. And I think if this is going to come back and bite Vince McMahon in the ass, I think Aleister and Andrade are going to go on to do great things in their career. And I just hope that Vince or whoever owns the company winds up bringing Andrade back whenever they get the opportunity to, man. So just terrible decision making, if you ask me. All of those people cut, but you want to bring back Eva Marie, who hasn't been able to wrestle a lick in her life and seemingly is only getting maybe an opportunity because she's an influencer on Instagram, it feels like. Like, who knows? Maybe I haven't seen Eva wrestling forever, so maybe she has been working on her game. But based off of the terrible impression she left in our mouths and then wind up getting released, you bring her back and you get rid of some of these other people. It's just absent-minded, just boneheaded moves. So Andrade, good luck, man. You know, Aleister, good luck wherever you go. I think you guys are gonna shine. JB says, what says Operation Overdrive? That season could have been better than it was. I'm assuming referring to our answer about maybe a forgettable season of Power Rangers. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Although AJ, big fan of it. AJ, big fan of it. Said that was his shit back in the day. Adam Pereira says, what was Power Rangers winning Nickelodeon thing we had 2 months ago? What was the point? I don't know what the point was, but outside of maybe just throwing it into Nickelodeon's face that, hey, you had, one of the best shows on Nickelodeon. I think that's what it was. Like, what's your favorite show on Nickelodeon? And I think it wound up giving people like fan votes. And Dino Fury actually won out. So, I think it was a big FU to from the fans to Nickelodeon. Like, hey, you don't promote the show enough, and it's your best show out there. So yeah, I don't know what the point of it was, but maybe just for Nickelodeon to feel stupider. AJ does ask, how excited are you from Dino Fury to premiere on Netflix for the first time? I can't wait to watch the first 8 episodes again, then 9 through 11. Yeah, I'm kind of curious if I'm going to go ahead and do that. Like, will I do another marathon of Dino Fury before getting to episodes 9 through 11? We'll definitely see. But remember, guys, when we are going to be doing those 3 reviews all that week for you guys. So on June 15th, episode number 9 will drop. June 16th, our episode 10 review will drop. June 17th, episode 11 review for you guys will in fact drop. So we're going to do a week full of Power Rangers Dino Fury reviews for you guys. I'm sure some people, who knows, maybe eventually after we do those, maybe we'll go back and do a little bit of a watch along also of those 3 episodes as well. So we'll see. Definitely some possibilities there. Yusai, thank you, Yusai, for the correction. It was like completely lost off of me. I was like Gekki Ranger, but it just could not come out. So thank you very much for clarifying that for me. Yusai also says, going into Zenkaiger a little bit, speaking of, Speaking of, I need a Gown episode ASAP. I can't stand his self-hating traits, and I need to understand where it comes from. You and me both, Yusai. I know there are big fans of maybe Gown out there, but he just rubs me the wrong way. It's just a character trait of his that I can't stand. You know, he has this mentality. He mentioned in one episode about, you know, he's a little tougher on Kikainoids because they're robots, you know, they're tougher. Humans are more fragile and things like that. But that doesn't take away from the idea of just the emotional aspect of things also, right? The idea of you saying some pretty hateful shit to people of your own kind, having like wanting nothing to do with them and just protecting humans and being so fond of humans that you kind of hate yourself of who you are and hate other people. That, you know, hate other people of your kind also. It's like a self-prejudice, if that's even a thing, that I've never really seen before. And I need to know. I need to know more about it. Because while I appreciate the effort that Gown goes through to protect human life and to protect humanity, the idea of putting them first over, I don't want to say, not that you have to make a choice or a decision, right? But it's just a concept and an idea I just don't understand and I just don't vibe with very well. And so at times, while I appreciate his effort, there are other times I look at him and just think like, why don't you treat your own people as well as you do others? You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a lesson coming. But he does rub me the wrong way, man. He does rub me the wrong way, Yusai. So I get it. I get it. And I hope we do get an episode like that. Yusai says, he also says, I hope you're good, Adam. I don't know the topic yet, but I just have to say Zox is the new GOAT sixth, in my opinion. The fact that he still beats up civilians after Gown's annoying overprotection was amazing. Yeah, I love the fact that he hesitates for a second and then he just still punches the guy. Yeah, it definitely makes me laugh, to certainly say the least. I'm glad you're liking him though. Adam Perea says, why we never see Austin and JDF at cons together? They always seem to have cons at other places at the same time, coincidentally, or show up for one day in different times. You know, that's one of life's greatest mysteries, isn't it? I tell you, man, it's it almost feels as though whatever the situation is, nobody wants to talk about it. Like there's a big elephant in the room that nobody wants to come out right and say it. You know, it's funny. At one Power Morphicon, we had a video that that we posted years ago, back in 2014, where Austin St. John was at Power Morphicon, and it was time for questions from the audience, and I remember this guy sent his little kid up there to ask this question, this little kid. And the kid asks what the issue was between him and JDF all the time. And I remember Austin calling out the guy who sent the kid up. He's like, how old are you? He said, did you ask that question or somebody had you? And I think the son's father was like, it's like your dad or whoever sent you up there to ask that question. He's like, shame on him or something like that. I can't remember, but he definitely blasted the guy for having his son come up and ask that question. But I remember Jason saying, you know what? He's saying, from my point of view, there's never a problem. He says, you know, I've been gone, I've been overseas, and I've been hearing this rhetoric kind of build up over the years and stuff. And he says, I have no problems with the guy. He says, now, if he's had a problem with me or if there's other things out there, then maybe you should ask him. You know, but for me, I've never had a problem with him and things like that. We've tried to be cordial and things like that. So, you know, Jason says one thing. I can't even remember what JDF might have even mentioned or how this kind of all started. But for two people that say that there's really no beef, nothing kind of going on, it's fucking odd that we have yet to see them in two places at once. Like the power of Austin and Jason just can't be confined in one room together, that they have to be like held at separate times. You know, I don't know if it's a case of maybe they're such big draws that maybe they would take away from each other's fan base if they were at a convention. I don't see that as the issue though. So do I think something happened? Absolutely. Do I think we'll ever find out? Maybe. But these guys are as tight-lipped as possible. It just feels weird to me. Like, if nothing has really ever happened and there's truly no beef with you guys, even though I think I have actually seen them maybe in a photo together once at the movie premiere. I think I might have actually seen them in a photo together. They might have been separated by a couple people between them. Let me just see. Power Rangers movie premiere photos. Yeah. So when you go to the Power Ranger movie premiere photos, we do see them together. There's a photo of separated, not next to each other, but they are there together. Jason, I see Zach, excuse me, Walter, Jason, Saban, David, and Austin. I also see a picture of Austin, Walter, and then Jason, and then David. So it's like, I don't see them together side by side. Nobody's putting their arms around each other, singing Kumbaya together and things like that, right? So, you know, who knows? Maybe they have fixed their issues since the Power Ranger movie. Maybe they've sat down and talked together since then. But I really would love to see them at a convention together. I truly would. Can I get an embrace? Can I get a hug, a shake, a little talk for the fandoms together, for the fans together, just to let everybody know we good. We good. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's just weird, though. Absolutely. All right, guys. I think that might actually. Yeah, I mean, again, same thing, AJ, right? They do reference each other at their cons. They do talk highly about each other. How come we just can't get you guys together? How come we just can't get you guys together now? So yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I just want to see them together. You know what I mean? I want to see them together. But all right, guys, I think other than that, that will go ahead and wrap it up for us here today. So thank you guys for certainly joining us as always for another weekend where we get the opportunity to discuss Power Rangers, everything tokusatsu, wrap it up for you during the weekend. And we certainly will be back later this week with new content for you guys. Again, we do have ourselves maybe one or two other videos that will be dropping this week that are Power Ranger related. And then, of course, we got our Toku Tuesday around here where we've got reactions along with other reviews for you guys from Tokusatsu stuff. So definitely go ahead and look forward to that. And if we do get any other big announcements throughout the week that feel video relevant, we'll certainly go ahead and keep you guys up to date as always. But that will do it for us here. If anything, do us a big favor. If you haven't hit that like button and you love our content, you continue to come back week after week, hit that big bell, or not that big bell, that big thumbs up. The like button certainly does go a long way. If you want to go ahead and continue this conversation, leaving comments on the video certainly goes a long way as well, guys. And if you want to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification. So when we do drop brand new videos, you will certainly be notified. If you want to follow us also on social media, right here at APlus Opinions, very active over on our Twitter page, as well as our main page, which is Facebook. So certainly go ahead and check us out there. And if you want to follow us on Instagram and Twitch, you can certainly do so as well, guys. But other than that, that's going to do it for us here. So do me a big favor, as always, guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until next time, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.